Traveling the Vortex.
We've joined Mel as she travels the Vortex, and I hope you're feeling distinctly feline today, because it's episode number 373. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
How are you guys?
I'm good.
I'm tired.
How's daylight savings transition treating you?
That's why I'm tired.
It's all right. I don't ever notice it on the weekends. If I worked on Sundays, I think I would, but I get, I take the extra hour of sleep, and then Monday it's a little different because the light changes and everything. No, I take that extra hour that I'm supposed to. Yes, I sleep in that extra hour, clockwise, and then not clockwise as in going around the clock the right direction, but as far as the clock is concerned, I'm still sleeping the same amount on Sunday.
Yeah,
and then I don't. Tonight will probably be the night that it catches me, because tomorrow morning I'll get up at 7 and it'll feel like earlier. So
See, that's what threw us, is because Cheyenne actually slept an extra hour. She didn't get up until the clock said 9, and normally she's up at 7. But I figured with the time change it'd be 8, but she actually slept until 9. Mm-hmm. And I'm tired.
I tell you, some days I wind up sleeping in, and Sarah gets up with Gemma. I'm more tired those days than when I get up with Gemma. Did you guys do anything fun this week?
I went and saw Game Night this week.
How was that? It's
extremely funny. Oh my God, we laughed so hard. It's great. I loved it. It helps that I like... what's his name? Bateman. I mean, Bateman's always good. Except for Teen Wolf 2, but he's always good, and this was no exception. It was a lot of fun.
I didn't do anything this week.
I started Jessica Jones season 2.
How is it?
It's good. It's really good. I'm 7 episodes in.
Oh wow! How many total are there?
13. So I'm a little.
Yeah, he's halfway there.
Yeah,
more than halfway there. I did watch the first 4 episodes. I'm in the middle of the 5th one.
It's really good. It's good in a different way from last season.
All right, let's move on to news.
So an actor has let slip that he's going to be in Series 11 as a guest starring role.
Say what?
Alan Cumming is going to be on the show. He let it slip in the Homo Sapiens podcast. Do you guys want to know who he's going to play?
Henry the Fifth?
James the First.
James the First. I knew it was
he said, quote, "I'm about to go on and do an episode of Doctor Who. I'm so excited." And his role would be that of a nice baddie, or more specifically, the Scottish monarch, James the First.
James the First. Well, and then I saw somewhere that he implied that James would be a reoccurring character, not a long-term, like every episode, not like Nardole. But
at least more than once. So.
Yeah, that he would be in a few episodes.
That's a pretty big name to try to get for one episode. So.
That's true.
So it's a 2-parter.
But then he later came out and apologized, I think on Facebook. No, not on Facebook. On Instagram, I think it was, for letting that slip, because that was not authorized by the BBC.
I think that's a good role for him.
It's a good role for him. I think it's... I'm excited to see him. I like him as an actor.
I never see him in enough stuff.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see him on Doctor Who.
Dear BBC, please rein in your folk.
They've been so clamped down on anything coming out that I'm all right with something like this coming out.
What else?
Our other bit of news, this would have been rumored for a while, but we don't address rumors, so... It's official, though. Season 12 Collector's Edition on Blu Ray.
Woo!
Yeah, so that's Tom Baker's first season. Tom's best season.
Says you.
Coming out on June 11th in the UK and June 26th in the US.
Oh, so we did get
We are getting a Blu-ray US release.
Because when I saw the news drop, there was no information on a US release.
Plus new bonus features, plus all the original bonus features from the DVDs.
Nice. Does it have a price tag on this bad boy?
It was $59.99 in the UK.
I have not seen the...
Or was it $79.99 in the UK?
That's downright reasonable.
Amazon. Oh.
Really?
$69.99 in the US.
$69.99.
So
that's downright reasonable, really, because that puts it right in line with a 13-episode season of New Who.
Yes.
Right.
And there's, I don't know how many hours are in a 4 and a 4 and a 2 and a 6 and a 4. That's
plus
math.
All original bonus features, plus new bonus features.
Yeah.
Plus Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But you can put a lot more low definition television on a Blu Ray too. So
it has been upconverted.
Yeah, well, it's still, even though it's upconverted, though it still doesn't take as much. Yeah, it does not take as much information.
Over 200 episodes. 200. Sorry, over 20 episodes.
That's going to be a massive box set.
I had an extra
200 episodes.
Over 20 episodes.
200 episodes would be more than Tom's season.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Tom's whole run.
Close to the whole run.
That's
maybe.
what I meant. Tom's whole run. Yeah.
Be close. So are you going to buy it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we have.
I'd love
a watch party at your house.
Here's the thing: is I'd love to see all of these come out this way. I'd love it. The problem is I'm not real hopeful because I think we'll run into they'll be on a schedule like they were with the DVDs, where we'll get 4 or 5 years into this or 6 years into this, and then they'll decide they're going to do something different or it's not selling, and then I won't have a whole collection, and I'm a completist, so that'll drive me crazy, and then the price point will go up on some of the older stuff. It's just that's the frustrating issue of it is yes, I'm going to go out there and buy it because I'd love to have this entire season, and if they're going to give me all the same stuff that they have on DVD, great. If they're upconverting it, great. But I'm not putting my heart into the fact that we're going to end up having every season on Blu-ray unless they step up their game and start releasing them more. But they have to be careful as well because there are going to be certain seasons.
Point.
Well, there are going to be certain seasons that aren't going to be as successful because they're going with this one. Number one, because it's Tom. Number two, because it's one of his best seasons, and he's familiar.
And it makes sense to start at the beginning.
It certainly does. Yeah. But unfortunately, when you start getting into some of the lesser known stuff or the less popular mainstream stuff, which would be Pertwee's era or even Hartnell, even Colin Baker. Well, Colin would be easy. You can do that. Probably do all his stuff in 2 sets. But, so I
wonder if they'd still do it.
There's a few warning signs up there, but yes, I will. I'm not going to get rid of my DVDs right away. But
I mean, because if this is 20 episodes,
was a set, so all they had to do is lump everything else as one.
But I mean, if they did this as 20 episodes, 20 individual episodes, that is almost what McCoy had, like total.
He had 3 seasons.
Because he had 3 seasons, but they were only 4 story arcs per season.
Yeah,
and they were 4, 3.
Well, that wouldn't be
it
would be half of his run. Yeah.
So you could do all of Sylvester McCoy in 2 box sets.
Yes, you could. Yeah.
If they chose to do it that way, as opposed to season by season.
And you could do all of Colin in 1 box set.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be squeezing together the Trial of the Time Lord stuff, but
I don't know. I don't know. Well, watch party at your house then when it comes in.
Yeah, I think it's. I like the artwork that they.
I say, what do you think about the new logo being on it?
I don't know. I just noticed that. I think that's interesting. The fact that the new logo's there.
It's not. It's not interesting. It's not. Not that it's not interesting, Keith. To me, it's not interesting.
Glenn.
It's not interesting or surprising at all because it's the new branding. That's what they want to get out there. That's what they want to get eyes on. They're counting on the new Doctor Who, the new branding, and everything to sell these DVDs as well. And so that's why they've gone with it.
So they're trying a new approach then.
I think so.
Because
that's the old,
even if you go out and buy David Tennant stuff, it's not his logo anymore. It's the all uniform classic series logo.
Right.
Oh, is it? His stuff
I didn't
now.
realize that that was all.
So that's why I'm surprised that they would go with the brand new.
I can see why
usually
that
it's just current era or current season or era, their logo. That's new stuff. Everything else gets lumped into one logo.
Yeah, I think all the classic Who stuff has been the 8th Doctor logo.
Yeah, but if you go buy a 10th Doctor action figure, it's got
you're talking merchandising stuff,
right? Yeah,
yes. No, for the DVDs though,
they leave the logo.
Yeah, right. Okay. No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that's different though because you're targeting collectors there. You're not targeting mainstream there. With this set, they want not just Doctor Who collectors. They want new series collectors as well. So or new series audience as well. So if you slap that new logo on there, and you've got a new set of eyes on there, then people may look to that and go say, "Oh, okay, yeah." I thought you were referring to. As I say, I didn't know they had rebranded the DVDs for.
No,
Tennant's
I think even the Blu-rays for Tennant still
has
Tennant's logo on it.
I think that
they didn't update it to 12's logo.
Yeah, I think the toys would. Be a whole different ball game. That might surprise me.
Tied in, but side note, we were at Best Buy this week picking up our Thor Ragnarok, and the one in Lawrence anyway had because that's where we happened to be at when we picked it up. The complete Capaldi era on Blu-ray, but it's in one of those kind of oversized
like they did for Matt Smith.
Book box sets.
Right.
At a fairly reasonable price. I want to say it was $80. Maybe not. Maybe it was more than that. But so that kind of led me to think, well, maybe they'll start doing. And then I saw this article. I was like, oh, well, here it comes.
I'm glad this isn't in the big book style.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like
It's
that.
not a picture book layout.
Right.
Yeah, because those are hard to put on shelves.
Yeah, they really are.
Thank you, BBC, for that.
Yes.
So watch party at your house then once it comes out.
I said yes.
We can go watch the. You only think it's Baker's best season because it's the only Cyberman episode he's done. I know you.
That's not the only reason. I almost had the complete season on DVD.
I would have to concur. That
it's the only reason he thinks it's the best.
No. I was trying to decide if that's. I think that's probably my second best season. If I were to be honest, that one's way up there.
It's up there. I'll give you that it's up there, but it doesn't. I mean, Seeds and that Brain of Morbius. What was it? 17.
Can't be 17.
13. It's shortly after
14?
14 maybe. That season.
How many more seasons?
Starts with
season 15, isn't it?
Starts with Planet of Evil, ends with Terror of the Zygons.
Terror of the Zygons starts the next season.
Yeah.
Season 13.
Then it starts with Zygons and ends with Planet of Evil.
Okay, that would be 13. Yeah.
So 13. That's my favorite. That's the best. Seeds of Doom. Enough said.
Well, that's it for the news. Just those two things.
Just those two things.
All right, let's move on to feedback.
Feedback. This is from Ben, who writes, "Better warm up those pipes, Sean." Message. Hello, gents.
Hold on.
Hang on.
Hold up.
We'll get there.
All right.
You just.
It's not how we do this.
Yeah, it is. But
That's not what was promised.
It's not what was promised.
You just wait. Message. Hello, gents. I hope this finds all of you hale and hearty. Each week I listen, and each week I curse myself for not sending in feedback. So here we are. First up, after 4 months, I finally got an MRI on that bum ankle of mine. The doctor work sent me to kept complaining I wasn't getting better, but also never wanted to do any further testing. After much badgering, they caved. Turns out the reason I wasn't getting better was that I tore 2 tendons. Ooh. After 4 months, one was still torn enough to be seen on the MRI. The other was no longer present, i.e. completely torn. The work doctor was going to blow that off to a second opinion was requested. That physician recommended surgery, which we are now awaiting approval for. Until then, I get to putz around the office. Moving along, being stuck in the office has afforded me much extra reading time. I wouldn't let that go too loudly, Ben, just FYI. Bosses tend to notice those things. I finally finished Terry Nation, the man who invented the Daleks. That was a slog to get through. I plodded through it, forcing myself to finish a chapter every day. While reading that, a very private haunting arrived. This was a welcome relief from Terry's biography. The latest in the Lethbridge Stewart books is a real corker so far. I'm a bit less than halfway through, but I anticipate moving through it quickly now. Sticking with books, I also picked up Red, White, and Who back up. I had stalled on that since getting it. I'm employing the one-chapter-a-day strategy so as to not feel bogged down. Next up, I'd like to mention that hashtag Who Against Guns campaign that's going on right now. It is inspired by the Parkland, Florida school shooting. There will be a special podcast recorded that will be available to those who donate to one or more of the 3 U.S.-based groups. Those groups and details are available on the Reality Bomb podcast website. A minimum donation of $10 is required to unlock the special podcast recording. I myself plan to donate to this cause, and I hope others will as well. The fellows over at RFS have mentioned on their show that the response is already well underway. I think that's it for now, but as always, we know that I forget things. Therefore, more may yet be forthcoming. For now, though, safe travels through the Vortex, everyone. Ben. P.S. Here's a link for the Who Against Guns campaign, which we will include in our show notes.
And he did include a P.S. Update, guys. Just finished a very private haunting earlier this afternoon. Great story. The themes contained weren't new, but they were beautifully blended together. I left it a 5-star rating and a nice review on Goodreads. It definitely makes it the top 5 for my Lethbridge Stewart rankings. Take care and happy reading to everyone.
A top 5 of the Lethbridge Stewart rankings.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get into that one. So this is the part where Pipes sufficiently warmed up from reading his feedback, I would launch into song.
You promised.
I did promise. And like Ben, I occasionally forget things. And so when I saw Ben's email came in, I thought to myself, all right, finally, I have an excuse. And I putzed around a little bit and came up with some different ideas and started formulating a plan and then promptly forgot about it. So I am ill-prepared. And this is how much I like you guys. And not you guys, because I don't, but the listeners. I could launch into something half-assed and kind of ill-thought-out and half-baked and not really well-prepared or put together and say, see, I did it. But I don't want to do that to you. I don't want to insult your ears. So next week, I will make up for this week's ill-preparedness. It's totally my fault.
Regardless of feedback?
Regardless of feedback. I'm not going to put any extra caveats on it. I screwed up. It's all on me. So I will remedy that.
Boo.
Yeah.
Are you getting any weird feedback? I keep hearing something coming from this side of the room, and it's
Some slight buzzing.
I don't know what it is.
Boo. Sean, I want you to be a pallbearer at my funeral so you can let me down one last time.
Damn.
All right. Anybody else?
That's it.
I'm going to need a beer to put these flames out.
Well, should we move on to the reviews?
Yes, let's.
Kind of smarts, Glenn. That stings.
The wishing
Oh, wait,
beast.
I can't do it next week. You won't be here.
No, I won't be here.
Oh. Well, I guess you'll just have to listen to
I
the
guess I will.
4-hour version
I guess I
of
will.
that podcast, won't you?
What can it mean when the Doctor and Mel are drawn to an asteroid by the message from the strange elderly Applewhite sisters? The travelers are promised that they will receive their dearest wishes when they enter the frozen forest of this benighted shard of a world. But the ghosts that haunt this place are desperate to warn the Doctor about the sisters' promises. Only the ghosts know how the true nature of the legendary wishing beast.
I think Glenn said it best. Boo. I didn't like that one at all. But I'll hold my my ire in check. Somebody else start.
I'll tell you, I didn't think I was going to like it until I finished it. And then I kind of put myself in the mindset that it's a lot like a fairy tale. It really is told like a fairy tale. It's framed in a fairy tale setting. And so once I got past that it didn't really quite gel as a Doctor Who story, then once I realized, well, it does work as a fairy tale, then I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the ride. I thought it was an interesting story. What turns up later, I think, then kind of soured me on it, but that we'll talk about here when we get to the next story.
I get you. Okay.
But overall, I thought it was okay. I thought the performances were good. I thought the premise was flimsy. I thought it was really flimsy. But again, it fit as the fairy tale. So when I put myself in that mindset, even the flimsy premise of it is okay for what they're trying to do here.
And even the flimsy scientific explanation behind it was pretty weak.
Well, that's why I think maybe I'm being more forgiving of it by
At least
saying
they
it's a
did
fairy
something,
tale because there was a lot of flimsy science in it. It's not one that I would definitely go back and listen to again, but it's not one that I'm disappointed that I listened to. So that's about the best I could say for it.
I think Mel was good in the story. I really liked her.
Performance-wise, it's great.
I thought she was written fairly decently too. She wasn't written like most Mel on TV. It's continuing the Big Finish Mel, which I always appreciate more than the televised version.
I agree with you, and I think part of the problem I had was I felt like we have been away from Mel for so long in Big Finish that I went into this with TV Mel more in mind, and so that set me back a little bit because she wasn't acting like TV Mel. And so I kind of thought, this doesn't right. But I thought this doesn't right. I'm not saying that I didn't like that. It didn't set right with me because it didn't feel right. But you're right. It's because they were taking that approach, and it's just been so long since we've had some Mel.
I almost had the opposite reaction of I knew it was Mel going in. I was like, it's a Mel story, and not excited. And then once I got into it,
and
she's
realized not so bad in Big Finish.
Oh yeah, it's Big Finish Mel. This is great.
I think maybe that was partially my problem as well because it started, and I get into these cycles where I forget things a lot, and so I had posted on the page the Sixth Doctor photo. Thanks for the confusion on that too, by the way, Ben. I really thought there was something more going on with that, but I put Colin up on the banner. I was like, "Yay, we're going to get some Colin this week, and it's Big Finish Colin, yay!" And then promptly forgot about it. And so when I booted up the story to listen to it and the theme music started, it was like, oh, yeah, it's Sixth Doctor. It's Colin Baker, Big Finish. All right, this is going to be great. And then Mel came on. I was like, oh, yeah, it's Big Finish Mel. This is going to be awesome. And it started with this really kind of very whimsical fairy tale, the two weird sisters, which I almost thought maybe were the ones from Paradise Towers. Like somehow.
It was very similar, yeah.
You know. Yeah. And I got excited. Because in a weird, perverse way, I enjoy, it is Paradise Towers I'm thinking of, right? Yeah, it's just Sylvester.
Yeah, it's just a Sylvester story.
In a weird, perverse way, I enjoy Paradise Towers, even though it's terrible. And so I was like, oh, let's see what Big Finish does. And then, of course, it didn't go that route. But Colin started his spiel, and just listening to, he's so wonderful in these roles, and he's so good at whatever he's given. And it's just heartbreaking that we don't get more Colin doing more things. It seems like, in general,
acting one,
yeah, just period. Because he should totally do more stuff. And then when we got into the meat of it, and they kept talking about how this hero of all space and time, Mel, and you could just hear the air come out of him as he got deflated.
Which is impressive in audio.
Yeah. And he handled it so well. Because early TV Colin would have flown in a fit of rage at not being recognized for the awesome hero that he is. But he's been with Mel long enough that she's okay poking that bear and going, are you doing okay? Yes, I'm fine. And just so much to like in their relationship and the way they played off of each other. And I was so digging it. And then the plot reared its ugly head, and just everything went off the rails, and it got weird, and then it got stupid. What was with the ghosts and this? And there's a beast in the woods, and you can have your wish, and the whole thing kind of fell apart for me by the end of the third act. It was just not working, and I feel really bad because it's Paul. What's his last name? Magers. Magers.
M-G-R-S. M-A-G-R-S.
Paul's done some other stuff that we've enjoyed immensely. And so when I went and checked the credits, and I was like, oh, Paul, what happened, man? Because I was really, it was very much odd man out for me. Yeah. And then there was the ending, not the ending, but the ending of the three parts where...
The solution is just, let's just lock it up in the mansion.
Well, yeah.
What? How is that a solution?
Well, first we have how are we going to solve this problem? I'm going to allow myself to be eaten. What?
Yeah.
That's never a good idea. It didn't work. I mean, I guess it worked in Pinocchio, but
I think the Doctor given us some sort of inkling that he suspected what was going on here, or had figured it out a little better.
That would have been
or
nice.
At least keyed us in on the fact that he wasn't just sacrificing himself, that he had a plan, because he
keyed in Mel. So
that's
Mel
just it. He kind of lets Mel almost. She
even says this is one of your plans, right?
Yeah,
and he doesn't really admit to it. It's like, okay,
so I sort of thought, well, I think I could have been better with it if that had been at least established. But
so he gets eaten, and then he has this surrealistic conversation with the Beast, who says, "Yeah, I'm the Beast, and you're going to replace me as the Beast so that I can die." And
which I totally saw that it was the brother.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yeah, I saw
long before they even revealed it.
Very, very telegraphed. And the Doctor says, and I'm not quoting him here, but it's almost a quote. Are you sure you want to do that? And the Beast miraculously changes his mind and goes, you know what? You're right. We can't go through with this. I've been a horrible person. It's like, what? If Colin was going to stand up and give one of his impassioned Colin speeches, I'd have been right there. We didn't even get that. We just got, are you sure? Okay, you're right. You've convinced me that I'm being... What? Flimsy. Flimsy is the best word I can use that I'm stealing from you, because it's thin. There's not much. It's like the ghosts. There's not much here. It's pretty transparent. And I really tried to look for things that's like, well, this was kind of cool. But then the more I think about it, the more I dwell on it, the more I'm like, no, I did not enjoy this one. I like the characters. I like the acting. That's what I can latch on to. Yeah. And there's so many moments that try to hit that funny bone mark, because it's almost a farcical fairy tale with, we've got a vacuum cleaner under the stairs in the cupboard that is going to ghost bust.
A proton pack.
Yeah. But apparently it works on live tissue. Well, I guess a proton pack would work on live tissue as well if you hit somebody with it. But I don't know. It was just...
I actually felt like the vacuum wasn't explained enough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you get...
It just was.
They gave us some techno-babble.
Yeah, you have to apply the whole fairy tale test, or litmus test to this just because of a lot of the stuff that wasn't really established or at least embellished on.
But I think that's the big failing on it is because we've had 3 seasons of Stephen Moffat fairy tale Doctor Who, and that's the way to do it. If you're going to do Doctor Who as a fairy tale, you do it that way. And those worked. This was far from.
At least this is before Moffat showed us how to do it.
And so again, retroactively, I'm applying
right.
current knowledge to something in the past. But it just, I don't know. We've had other fanciful fairy tale style stories before that are wonderfully done, and it's almost like this one didn't go far enough tongue in cheek to make it work in that regard, and they tried to be a little more grounded with it, which I guess I can appreciate the attempt, but you're treading in really dangerous waters when you try and take a show like Doctor Who, which is fantastical, and meld it with the supernatural, and then turn around and also meld it with the fairy tale.
Right.
And I feel like there's just too much going on.
Did you guys realize that Maria, the gal that's playing Maria, was Jean Marsh?
I did not.
I
thought the voice sounded familiar.
I thought the voice sounded familiar too, and I had to go look it up to see if I knew who it was, and I went, oh, well, of course. No wonder I recognized the voice. So, the other gal I didn't recognize, Geraldine Newman.
That name actually sounds familiar for some reason.
She's been in. According to this, her only a credit in Doctor Who is this particular story. So.
I see also Doomwood Curse.
Oh, Lady Sybil in Doomwood Curse. Yep.
That's the Torchwood one, right? Doomwood.
We haven't listened.
Or is it just one we haven't got to yet?
No, it's just one we haven't got to
yet.
Okay. It's main range 111. That's coming.
That's coming.
I half the time I enjoyed the sisters. They were so zany and so crazy, and their performances were so good that I enjoyed them. And the other half was like, you're almost going too over the top. There were moments where it was just almost too much.
Well, like finding out that the blind one has got this I-beam Cyclops powers, okay, cool, yeah. And then, we're on the cart and we're going to go capture some ghosts for tribute to feed to the brothers. Like,
I think that the sisters are quite enjoyable as characters. The whole time they're at the house, it isn't until they go on the journey that it starts to go a little, as you said, off the rails. And I wasn't quite enjoying them as much, and not because their true stripes were coming out at that point, because I predicted that way long before we even knew they were bad. But it just, I don't know. It's almost like there was a slight character change there that I didn't think was that great. But it might have been also the context of what they were doing and what was going on around them with these ghosts.
Well, when they're puttering around in the kitchen and you make the blind one serve, and she's knocking things over and potentially pouring milk into the sherry, that's great. That's funny and light and okay, this is fun. And we've got the Doctor in a tiny little broom closet and Mel in a palatial estate bedroom. Okay, that's great. Ghosts. Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's just the ghost thing. Maybe that's what I have to fall back on.
I think it's the weakest part of the entire story.
Well, and if you're going to go ghost, you've really got to impress me now. You've got to pull out all the stops to make me believe that there are ghosts in a Doctor Who story. And
the thing
is, the Doctor doesn't even question it. He's just like, oh, ghosts.
You could have done this story without the ghosts, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, or at least have one that was trying to warn the Doctor. I mean, that element of it works, I think, but I don't know. It just
could have also just been a servant in the house that trying to warn the Doctor.
I don't know that it needed
even the idea that the wishing beast consumes them and turns them into psychic energy. I'm not even going to use the word ghost, but they're not organized. They're not a collective group of people that are still kind of there. Because we spent a lot of time explaining why they don't sink through the floor of the planet. It's like, I don't care about that. Exactly. I care about how the rest of it works. Right. And we didn't get anything on that. But I can buy that the Wishing Beast does this to them if they had made them more tragic, that they were these really tortured souls who didn't understand what had happened to them and couldn't move on or something. Okay, I can buy that, but no, I'm a ghost. Oh, and they're going to come and eat me again.
Really, what's left to eat at that point? I mean, that part just didn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, if you've already digested their, their spirit, well, I would think you're
done.
That's what you got. You're done, right?
Right.
But you took the body and left the spirit, but you still want the spirit. I was like, why didn't you just eat it all at the same time?
Yeah.
It's a silly story. And then the parasite bit, that the wishing beast was actually this parasite that latched onto the brother. I was like, okay, I can get behind that. But then we didn't get an explanation for where it came from.
No.
Well, there's a reason why we didn't get an explanation of where it came from.
And then, as you pointed out, let's just lock it up in the house and walk away. This is the worst plan ever. What are you talking about?
That's setting up for a sequel that's never going to come.
No, the David Warner's character is going to come back to this asteroid and find it, and later I don't know. He could maybe do something with it, but yeah, I propose we lock it, leave quietly one at a time.
Same thing with the
vacuum.
vacuum.
None of this ever happened.
Yeah.
Why didn't you use the vacuum on the beast? If we're going to go there, let's just annihilate both problems. I know you're the doctor and you don't really do that, but
when it's a being from another dimension that you can't send back to its home and it's wreaking havoc, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Justified in this instance.
Yeah.
Unlike the lead ghost who gets a hold of the vacuum and turns it on the sisters and then decides, okay, you're hurting me. I guess I'll give up. Oh, you're going to continue to hurt me. Oh, it's too late. I'm gone. Yeah, did not like. I can't give it the horn, but man, it's close. If the performances weren't so good, I might have had to pull the horn out.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the Vanity Box.
A strange beauty parlor has opened its doors for business in a dotty Salford Terrace circa 1965. Mansour Kafi is the talk of the streets with his fabulous makeovers. When the doctor arrives, however, he knows at once that there has been some unnatural titivation going on.
The exact same set of problems.
Yeah.
The exact same
At least
strengths.
this one is shorter.
Actually, the strange thing about it is I like the Wishing Box better than the Wishing Beast better than I do the Vanity Box.
Did you really?
Because the Wishing Beast, again, as I put it in the perspective of they're just structuring a fairy tale here. I'm just gonna go with it. This one, it was almost like they were trying to be more like a Doctor Who story, but still had so many of the poor elements of the Wishing Beast that now suddenly this doesn't feel fairy tale at all. This just feels silly. And even if they had made
but not in that good
farcical
fairy.
Yeah, if they had done this farcical silly, I might have appreciated it as they've done in some of these other short stories as well. But it's almost like, again, it was too grounded. It's like we didn't go there with it, so I couldn't even appreciate it for that. And it's just, I don't know. It seemed like it was also trying to deliver a message, but it's really hard.
It was also trying to explain the things from the previous story. It was trying to tie up loose ends.
That's the thing too, is until he realizes it's the Vanity, it's the Wishing Beast, I didn't really even go there in my head that that's probably what it was. I kept waiting for the virus.
Me too.
That wasn't there.
No virus on this one.
But I maybe that's why, because I was distracted by the fact that I was like, okay, well, this is when they're going to reveal this is a virus, or there's a virus in there or something, because this is the quote unquote virus arc, and it didn't happen. And then so when they revealed that it was the Wishing Beast, I was like, oh, of course. Well, I mean, no wonder this does connect. It's a box. It does make sense that they go this route. But then I was like, there's no reason for this to be the Wishing Beast. There's no reason. And so even when we get what should have been a clever payoff that, oh, well, this is actually a prequel, but from Mel and the Doctor's perspective, it happens afterwards, and he's about to send it back to that asteroid so that all of those events can happen. That should have been a, oh, wow moment. It wasn't, because the whole rest of the story was so duh. I was like, no, I don't even want to be there. And now you've set in motion the events that are going to happen in the past for you, and you're the cause of this. Did you send it there because you knew that it would go through those loops and then would be sealed up and taken care of? But now you've also started the anguish, and you're the reason why.
How many people died because of your decision?
You're the
to send
reason
it there.
why all of those people. I don't know. I mean, if he had done a better job of explaining that it was a necessity as far as avoiding a paradox to do that, then I would have been okay with that. But it's like we wrote the story to set up the paradox in order to have a wow factor, and now you've painted the Doctor as some, responsible for for murders, for all these different murders, and that didn't set well with me.
Nope. I'm actually a little mad at myself that when the box came out and he put the box on her head, because the guy even says, "Oh, it's just a box. Take this box. It's the wishing beast." And then we get to the salon. Here's a box on this woman's head that I didn't put two and two together then. But when the Doctor has it on his head and begins to go, oh, I know what's going on. And then as soon as he said that, I went, oh, you're trying to set up a bootstrap paradox because he's going to send this. I mean, it was just so blatantly telegraphed, and it's so poorly done with exactly as you put it. You wrote this whole thing just so that you could get to this moment so that you can send the box back to the asteroid, which does make the Doctor culpable in these murders. I'm sorry. There people die in Doctor Who. I get that. I'm not trying to be Mary Whitehouse here. But when it's directly his fault, and in my mind preventable, that's different. When you have idiots who are volunteering to go guard the corridor from the sieging aliens, they're going to die. And they're buying the Doctor time. Okay, I can accept that because that comes with the job. But nope, I'm going to send this alien to this asteroid where nobody will ever possibly discover it. Except I remember that 5 minutes ago I was there doing this horrific battle with these spirit ghosts that all had their souls stripped away from
at the very beginning of the episode.
Yeah, it just that didn't sit well at all. Same pluses, the characters were.
See, I don't even agree with the character aspect of it, other than the Doctor and Mel.
Yeah.
All the supporting characters I didn't like.
I didn't care for the supporting characters either, and I wasn't wowed.
Maybe I
by
just like batty old women.
Oh, well, I wasn't wowed by any performance, and the reason being is because, and I'm sure this is just a character trait of South London at that time, but they were all the same person to me.
Yeah,
none of them were
they
different.
They were all suspiciously like.
They were all these batty old ladies that.
Joe, what's her name? Iris. They all sounded like Iris to me. In fact, I almost went and looked to see if it was Katie Manning doing the voice. A little bit. Like toned down versions of Iris, but they all sounded like Iris.
Well, they all were horrible women. I mean,
they were just vain. I mean, they were
and just
very unlikable.
Gossips and
I don't think they were horrible, but they were unlikable for certain.
But
they were catty. They were
very catty. The one surprise that came out of this was when he says, "I need your help. I need to get into there and under subterfuge." And I thought I knew where it was going, that he was going to ask this 100-year-old lady to go in and ask for a makeover. And he says, "I need you to drag me up." And I went, "Oh God, no! Please don't." Oh dearie me! And I went, "Oh, they must have downfired him."
It made me wish this was television. I would love to see that. See what
some regard, yes.
So the whole time it was Colin's voice coming out of John Pertwee's mouth.
Well, because they've done that before in the Green Death, where he dressed as the cleaning lady.
That's who I envisioned the entire time going in for a makeover.
That helps actually a lot. So that was a pleasant bit.
That was a pleasant bit, yeah.
Other than that, get to the end and just no virus. And what is with this bootstrap paradox business? So...
And really, it's kind of a lazy bootstrap paradox.
So lazy. It's
not
so
well
poorly
thought out,
done.
not planned.
No, well, it feels planted. It feels like, okay, I wrote this story, and hey, wouldn't it be cool since I've got one more episode to just throw it back and bootstrap it? That's what it feels like. And I was like, no, that didn't work. Did not work for me.
Yeah, and if you're gonna do it that way, wouldn't it have been nice if they had found, in addition to the bootstrap paradox that the Doctor didn't cause, that there were all these other things that happened that explained the ghosts, and that would have made now of course that breaks the mold of the 3-part 1-part story, because it would have suddenly become a 4-parter. But I would have liked a little explanation. I would have liked a little exposition there at the end that said this is how we fix this, and then maybe I could have gotten with it. But instead I got 3 episodes that I really didn't like, and one episode that in a way was better just because it was mercifully short and only 1 episode. That I didn't have to stumble through the other 2 to get to that terrible ending.
Right.
But yeah, did not like.
Let's just hope that the next offering will be a little better.
Wow, so this was the last appearance of Mel until 2013. This came out in 2007.
Yeah.
Long stretch without Mel again.
I wouldn't want to come back after this one. If I was Mel,
It does say the final appearance is Bonnie Langford as Mel. Maybe.
Oh, maybe she does show up as other stuff. I don't. Yeah.
Or maybe Mel's played by somebody else. No, they wouldn't do that.
No, they wouldn't.
No, Big Finish has no history of doing that.
No. Cool. Anything else to say about these 2 stories, these 4 episodes?
I'm very sorry, Bonnie Langford, that this is your last one. If this
Maybe
is
that's
in
why.
fact the
Until
last one.
2013.
Maybe that's why she didn't
last
do one for several years.
I'd like to believe it's just because she went on to do, stage work, because she's constantly.
Well, I think
doing
she.
I'm sure it
yeah,
was.
I think she just got busy with
Just
other
got busy.
stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very sorry.
You gotta wait till release number 169 until she returns.
Oof, that's a long wait.
That is a long wait.
I'll
At
try
the
and
rate we're going at it, yeah.
if and when we get to 169, I'll try and prep you ahead of time, Glenn, and say, now this is Big Finish Mel coming back, and not,
Because I will definitely have forgotten
not
by then.
TV Mel. Ugh, the Wishing Beast. Can I put the Wishing Beast in the vanity box and wish them both away?
All right, Sean, what do we got coming up on the schedule?
Well, coming up on the schedule, one of us is going on holiday and will not be present next week, so the remaining 2 of us will be doing some Torchwood. We are going to review Titan Comics, the Torchwood. What is this called? Do we have a name of this thing? I looked it up for that reason, and then I realized I didn't look it up.
Yes, there is a name for it. I'm pulling it up.
World Without End?
World
Yes.
Without End, thank you. So it's the first 3?
4.
First 4 comics.
Volume 1.
Or Volume 1, depending on which iteration of Titan Comics numbering system you want to use, called World Without End. So we'll be reviewing that. And we will be taking a look at... What are you doing? There it goes. Sorry, my thing is updating here. The Conspiracy, which is the first Big Finish Torchwood release. So it's a series of number 1s in the Torchwood universe. We've got
Yes.
Titan and Big Finish that Keith and I will be taking a look at next week. Following that, it's then time, if you haven't already, I would highly recommend you start reading. And what are we reading?
The Highlanders.
The Highlanders. Because it's time to get lost in time. We're going to go back and take a look at this unfortunately missing episode, and we'll read the novelization and
We
watch
don't know if it's unfortunately missing.
any Doctor Who
That's
missing
true.
is
That's
unfortunate. I'm going to fall down on that. Even missing Doctor Who is good Doctor Who. Except for the Wishing Beast and the Vanity Box. We're going to wish that it was missing. God, I would trade just about anything to swap this with the Highlanders. Just about anything. But yeah, so that's 2 weeks from now. We'll be looking at the old missing episode and hopefully having some fun with that. And the rest of the schedule, of course, is up on the website.
Cool. And then while you're at our website, consider contributing through our Patreon. There is a link on the right-hand side of the page, and all those proceeds do go back into this show and help us continue this podcast.
While you're also on the website, fill out the Send Us Feedback tab and send us feedback like Ben did. Or you can send it directly to feedback@travelingthevortex.com.
Excellent. Anything else we need to cover before we close this one, fellas?
I promise to sing next week.
All right, that's going to do it for this week. Until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Be seeing you.
And thanks for listening.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.